It's Patrick Hutzel from IntensiveCareHotline.com, where we instantly improve the lives for families of critically ill patients in intensive care so that you can make informed decisions, have peace of mind, real power, real control, and so that you can influence decision making fast, even if you're not a doctor or a nurse in intensive care. This is another episode of Your Questions Answered. In last week's episode, I answered another questions in a series of questions from my client Robert. The question last week was part 5 of my 68-year-old mother is in intensive care with gastric perforation and she's not waking up after the surgery. Will she need a tracheostomy? You can check out last week's episode by clicking on the link below this video. In this week's episode of Your Questions Answered, I want to start featuring another case study with one of my clients, Stephen. And the case study this week is, my dad has been in ICU for several weeks with ARDS, cardiac arrest and dialysis. He's got a tracheostomy. Does he have a realistic chance of survival? So Stephen's dad has been in intensive care for several weeks now, and he's been battling ARDS. ARDS is also known as lung failure, and he also had a cardiac arrest. Stephen's dad's kidneys have failed, and he now requires hemodialysis for his failing kidneys. Stephen's dad is still ventilated, and he's got the tracheostomy to keep his airways safe. Stephen is obviously very concerned about his dad's situation, and he wants to make sure the intensive care team is doing everything and all the right things to maximize the chances of survival for his dad. So Stephen has a number of very important and very insightful questions, and you can scroll down below this video and you can read the dialogue between me and Stephen. It's how we work together, and it's an excerpt from a one-on-one phone counseling and consulting session with me. And you can read through the dialogue. Now, if you are watching this on YouTube, please click on the link below this video on YouTube, and that'll get you to the website, and you can read the dialogue between Stephen and myself there about how I help him to make sense out of this difficult situation with his dad in ICU with ARDS and kidney failure and cardiac arrest. Very complex situation, but I'll break it down for Stephen so he can make sense out of the situation and also explain to Stephen how to make sure that the intensive care team is doing all the right things to maximize chances of survival for his dad. We talk about whether tracheostomy was the best thing for him or whether they should have waited, and we talk about also how to prepare for a potential end-of-life situation, because at this stage we don't know which way it's going. So go and read the dialogue, and I'll see you next week. So how can you become the best advocate for your critically ill loved one, make informed decisions, get peace of mind, control power and influence quickly whilst your loved one is critically ill in intensive care? You get to that all-important feeling of making informed decisions, get peace of mind, control power and influence when you download your free instant impact report now by entering your email below. In your free instant impact report, you learn quickly how to make informed decisions, get peace of mind, real power and real control, and how you can influence decision making fast whilst your loved one is critically ill in intensive care. Your free instant impact report gives you in-depth insight that you must know whilst your loved one is critically ill or is even dying in intensive care. Sign up and download your free instant impact report now by entering your email below. In your free instant impact report, you learn how to speak the secret intensive care language so that the doctors and the nurses know straight away that you are an insider and that you know and understand what's really happening in intensive care. In your free report, you will also discover how to ask the doctors and the nurses the right questions, discover the many competing interests in intensive care and how your critically ill loved one's treatment may depend on those competing interests, how to eliminate fear frustration, stress, struggle, and vulnerability, even if your loved one is dying. You get 5 mind-blowing tips and strategies helping you to get on the right path to making informed decisions, get peace of mind, control, power, and influence in your situation. You'll get real-world examples that you can easily adapt to your and your critically ill loved one's situation. How to stop being intimidated by the intensive care team and how you will be seen as equals. You'll get crucial behind-the-scenes insight so that you know and understand what is really happening in intensive care and how you need to manage doctors and nurses in intensive care, and it's not what you think. Thank you for tuning into this week's Your Questions Answered episode, and I'll see you again next week in another update. Make sure you also check out our blog section for more tips and strategies, or simply send me an email to support@intensivecarehotline.com with your questions. Or you can call me. Find international phone numbers on our contacts tab. Also, check out our ebook section where you get more ebooks, videos, and audio recordings, and where you can also get one-on-one counseling and consulting with me via Skype, over the phone, or via email by clicking on the products tab. This is Patrick Hutzel from intensivecarehotline.com, and I'll see you again next week in another update.